So this is the Wawona 6 North Face. This is a second generation, if you want to call it that. The first one, really, I think the only difference on it was that it had a little bit more of a back rain fly, which we can show you later. It's nice, it has a double door. This is kind of the vestibule area. If you want, you can open up both doors. Have a nice little breeze coming through. Makes it good. I can pretty much stand up in here. You know, I'm 6'2". I kind of like that. This is a nice garage area. When we were in Escalante, we were able to set up the table, eat, block out the wind and snow at the time. These are some of the loops. I'm not the biggest fan of this style of loop, but I think they kind of loosen up. This is basically brand new. Pretty much a lot of mesh around this, so it breathes quite well.
Yeah. And the first one, you know, they have that thing on front.
On the first generation, they actually had a zip up front too.
Yeah, but you know, they have that thing, the pocket thing on front.
On the first one, I forgot they did have more storage for the pocket thing.
Yeah, but I think they changed it. You know, they switch from this to go that.
So I didn't know about that. There are still a lot of pockets and storage in this one.
Okay, maybe you go inside.
Inside again, I can stand up quite easily. And I do like, you know, there's quite a bit of space on the sides. I can actually kind of move around without having to duck a lot. This is a nice tent. This is very spacious. The one thing, and I can talk about it, you know, with all the mesh, and the rain fly just barely covers the mesh, and you do get a bunch of drafting coming up through here, which can be good when it's warm and hot. Not so good when it's a little bit colder and you want it to warm up and hold some body heat. We'll look at the outside of it, and I can show a few of the vents. When you need more air flowing, this is a nice little setup. This does it on both sides, gives you a little bit of plus. You can open up this side here, roll it up, and even get more airflow. This can be really nice to prevent condensation inside, and especially on those, you know, warmer summer days. It's a nice feature. Rolls up again. It has the same kind of loop system as the doors, and this is what I have a hard time. I don't know why. My fingers are maybe just fumbly. This is where I was saying the rain fly no longer comes all the way down and gives you that second vestibule.
Because on the Wawona 6 the first one, they have it. But this one, they don't have it.
6P, right?
Yeah, 6P.
Yep.
And they don't have it anymore. And even like they say, like the double wall is not, it's really double, because it's just like the half.
Yeah, this is, yes.
I would say like a double loop.
Wall and a half. So, anyways, a lot of different little guy lines that are attached. You know, this came just like this, so that, you know, in windy situations you can tie it out, really get it stretched out. Has another little, and if it was raining, probably would almost want to pull this out to let the rain kind of drip and fall away from the tent as much as you could.
And the one thing too, for the issue with this, the zipper.
Yeah, the zippers can be a little bit of a pain. They want to get snagged quite a bit. We've got kind of used to it to be able to kind of roll some of this stuff back so that you're not getting snagged up quite as much. Relatively easy setup. We can kind of go over some of that. I'm not a big fan of running the poles through the sleeves, but it's not bad. Once you get them through there, it sets up pretty nice. There's a few little Velcro points that you can strap the rain fly to. Like here, this makes it a little bit, you know, ties it in. And there's a few little spots in the back and here that you can do that with.
But usually, you know, it's not a 4 season.
This is not a 4 season. This is a 3 season tent. You would not want to take this in the winter time.
We take it to Escalante, you know, and
spring break.
On the spring break, a couple nights it's snow. It's a little bit cold because, you know, they'll let the air come in everywhere.
And if it snowed a lot, it could definitely build up a lot of weight and probably collapse it. We never had it in real high winds. Not sure how it would have held up. I think it would have done pretty good. I mean, it is.
I think the first night when we set up on the Escalante, it's really high wind, but we pretty much put the spice on time
Staked
before it's
down
fried.
really well. It's a big wind cell.
Uh-huh.
And it was really nice having this big old garage thing because it would have been hard to eat outside without it.
Yeah, and the one thing too, like the day it's rain and snow, it's really cold. We pretty much eat outside and run the propane in there. We just, you know, sit down here and have the
We had a
dinner.
little Mr. Heater here, and it was really nice. It didn't get a lot of heat inside the tent, but out here and close to the door was nice. But again, it's quite drafty, which I think will be really nice this summer. For colder winter, like colder camping, I think you better have the right gear, which we did. We were comfortable all night. Nobody really complained much. So this is the REI Kingdom. It has the garage on it. This is a separate piece that you buy. Basically it just zips in right here and zips off. There's a double zipper deal. It's not a bad add-on, but it's an extra $100 without it. And we'll get on this here. So let's go inside here. This is the one thing that I've noticed right off is it's really a little longer than the Wawona 6 in terms of the garage goes, but I have to duck. I can't stand up in here very easily at all. But there is a lot of space in here, so if you were sitting down, needed a play area for your kids or something of that nature, this would work really well. I do like the door here, the way that it kind of comes up. The zippers seem to snag on this one too. It's just a lot of material and a big door. I like the little pocket thing, the way that the door just stuffs into the pocket instead of having the little loop thing. That's a nice feature of this. I also too like how if this one is a bit warmer, it's not quite as drafty as the Wawona 6. You have the window, but you can also close this off fully and really, you know, blocks the air. The rain fly comes all the way down on both sides, even though you have a fair amount of mesh. On this side of it, the mesh doesn't go all the way down, and you do have a divider, which if you have maybe a different family, and let's see here. And so once you get the hook off of there, this thing drops down. And we could do the other side, but we won't. This basically zips down. So if you were maybe colder or a hotter sleeper, you could actually switch up who was sleeping where. Again, this has the same door as the front, and it also has, this is basically the rain fly that it comes with, so it has a vestibule on the back, which I kind of like this feature here, the fact that it just sort of, it goes halfway. You can do this other side. And again, you get, well, with the Velcro. So this is how it would be if it was opened up. It does roll up and hook the same as the...
How about the height?
For the height, that is one thing, and that's a good point. The way that it rolls, I basically can stand up right in the middle. But as soon as I step off, I'm starting to kind of hit my head. Not quite as much space as the North Face in terms of being able to stand up and move side to side and have the space. You know, and also too, I think that this is a little longer, but you know, they're basically about the same size.
The longer, it's longer, but
it's a little
not
bit
wider.
longer, but it's not wider.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still, like I said, they're both six person tents. So, and then if we step outside, this is basically how the rain fly comes all the way down, which I like. That's one feature.
That one feature we really like.
I really like it. I mean, it just makes it so that it stays warmer, and it's just going to be in a rainstorm, a big thunderstorm, which we get here. I think it's going to keep you much drier. I feel like the North Face would probably have a potential to leak, but we don't know yet because we haven't been able to test that out. If we go to the garage, it has pretty much, and in fact, I'm thinking about taking the garage off real quick, just because I'd like to show the rain fly, so that if you don't want to spend $100 on the garage, it if you don't want to spend $100 on the garage, this is what you would get here. This is basically going to be one side, and then you have the vestibule on the front. This is how the tent comes. I believe it was $499 for this tent, just like this. A little more sealed up in my opinion. The rain fly on the north face, and I'm kind of jumping around, but this is all one piece. You can't just do part rain fly in the garage. You have to have this all as one piece. So that's one thing. For breathability when it's hot out, I think I'd have to pick the north face. This is actually not a bad, you know, they're still, I mean, they're both great tents in my opinion. And they ultimately have pluses and minuses to both. The door is a little different on this one in terms of being able to pretty much just flops up, straight up, and you've got the same roller system with the hook. So that's pretty much how you roll up the doors there. The other one rolls to the side. So yeah, we were fortunate enough to basically have both tents to do sort of a comparison, and yeah, we'll kind of keep letting you know how they work out as we use them. So one other thing, you can see that we're pulling the rain fly off. This is what the tent looks like without the rain fly. And one thing to note is these are really nice to have on the rain fly. You just clip them in all, I think it's 6 corners.
Yep.
And so this makes it really nice. On the north face, and it's not a bad system, but they clip under the pole. So you kind of have to put it underneath the pole to get it clipped. On the back, they just have a little loop and a hook, which works. But anyways, I wanted to point that out about the rain fly. Other than that, they're very similar. Same kind of pole setup with the bent deal. And we'll show you the north face as well with the rain fly down. So this is what the north face looks like with the rain fly off. A lot of mesh, breeze well. As you can see, I do notice this thing is a lot sturdier, in my opinion, than this. Neither one of these are staked down or anything. These are just freestanding. I think just the crisscross pole actually just makes it stronger. Even though, yeah, I think, you know, you'd have to stake that one out for sure. This is kind of a freestanding tent. You can pick it up and move it much easier with 2 of us. That one you have to kind of pick up and move in sections. Some of the water staining on this mesh actually did come from some condensation that built up on the rain fly, which I was a little surprised about, but given the fact that we had the heater running and so on, it might have caused part of that problem. They're really close to the same. I mean, the Kingdom is just a little longer maybe, but
yeah, a little bit longer,
wider, and it is taller. I can stand up easier in this one than I can the Kingdom.
Yeah, the Kingdom is it's a little bit longer from the down to high.
But
from the bottom,
width here is a little bit less. But you know, there's features about it that I kind of like. With, you know, it's hard to get the perfect tent. For us, we still tend to like the north face the most. Again, it's kind of because I like to stand up. I like some of the simplicity of it. These poles are a little bit different to put together, but you know that it's still, all of it's still pretty nice. We'll continue to take them down and show different phases of this process, and then you guys can make your own choices. I don't think you can go wrong with either tent.
Yeah, but the north face a little bit cheaper by 50 bucks.
Only by $50, but if you want to buy the garage with this, if you need that big vestibule, then it's $150 difference. However, I really do feel like in colder camping conditions, this one's going to keep you warmer overall, just because it doesn't have, it has the full rain fly. I think in heavy rain that it'll just keep you much warmer. So, and you can see with these clips, I mean, this is a nice, you know, how easily you can just put this together. They just clip on, clip off. And we'll show you a little bit on the north face about the sliding them through the sleeves. I'm sure everybody who's camped has experienced the sleeves and the poles coming apart inside and so on. but it's still not bad. The thicker poles on the north face are nice. They have pretty thick aluminum poles. Keep it a little bit better in the wind, less chances of them breaking. And I'm not 100% sold on this whole T system. But we can start taking this apart a little bit and sort of show that process.
Okay.
And we can show these poles. So now let's go ahead and just kind of we'll pull that out now. Maybe do that on the back one. And we can just start unclipping everything here. This is that T deal that I was talking about. This is kind of the way these fold up and come out, which is, I mean, maybe I'm just not used to it, and I suppose that one can really stay in. It's a little bit different to me, this whole setup. But you know, it's not, again, it's not bad. Maybe it kind of keeps the poles in a, so this is basically going to be your one kind of big pole system.
Not 1, 2.
Well, this one here, yeah. So this is one pole, and then you got another T over there, and then you have just your center pole. Yeah, the tent's down, went down pretty fast. And really, once you get this system down, you know, and maybe if you needed an antenna.
No.
To me, it's just a little bit different. I'm maybe just more used to single poles instead of having 3 poles built into one. But I think it's still a relatively clever system that they came up with. For the most part, I really do like REI products. They have a great warranty. I'm not sure if it's as good as it used to be, but it used to be a lifetime. But I'm sure that, like anything, it's all changed by now. And I'm not sure what the warranty is on North Face, but in my experience, I would have to say North Face is overall a better product. But that's maybe just my biased opinion. Anyways, we'll show you a little more on the North Face here in just a few minutes. So, a few clips here. Not near as many on the North Face. Mostly, this is the sleeve I was talking about. They do have, you want to, one of the things that this is a pretty tight, so they give you this kind of string to pull this and pop these out, but this thing is, I noticed it's pretty tight. It's these poles are, but once you get it, it comes out relatively easy. I'll go ahead and pop the other side. Okay, so now,
Okay.
this is the part where sliding it through can sometimes be a 2-person job. In fact, I have my wife on the other end because the pole wants to dig into the ground. So that would be one thing. So now we're out of the first sleeve. Okay, one pole. So that's the center pole. The center pole is the same thickness. This supports everything on the Kingdom. But then on the rest of the poles, this is how much, you know, and it's not maybe a whole lot, but you know, there's definitely, you know, when you're holding them in your hands, a noticeable difference in thickness.
But I can feel it when it looks like a more stronger. But anyway, we cannot judge it by the feeling. Unclip everything.
Yeah, unclip the 4 corners. But once you get them in the right spot, they pop off.
Stop, Shadow. Stop.
Okay.
Okay.
So there's this one. We're gonna leave it. We're gonna do this other corner over here. We'll get this last one. Now, pretty much, it gets easier from there. It'll pretty much fall down.
Okay.
Okay.
The one thing, you know, we do not like we have to pushing it. We have to have like a lot of room.
If you pull them out, they just tend to, and you do have to get to the point where you're pulling it, but the poles come apart, or can. And one of the things, you know, by sliding the sleeve and working it, you can pretty much get it out of there in one nice piece. And so this is what happens sometimes, is you get bunched up and you don't want to stretch this elastic out. So you got to kind of just work this sleeve back and keep it kind of working until you get it out here. And then now we're at the end there. Once you start stretching that elastic out, it just gets sloppier and harder to deal with. So some final thoughts on the REI Kingdom versus the Wawona, North Face Wawona 6. The backpack, this is the duffel bag that the North Face comes with. You have to roll the tent pretty tight, and you know, it's an okay pack. It's not great. There's some room to get it in there. It's not terrible. This is actually, I feel, much nicer. Kind of a backpack. Plenty of room for some of the extra guy lines, a few little things here, and also it has two separate storage units. One side is for the poles. The garage actually fits in there. This is an extra thing, so generally you wouldn't even have to have this in there. So there's a lot of room, a lot of space to get the tent in and to get this in without having to be so precise about rolling it tight. This has to be rolled pretty tight to get it to fit in the bag. They both serve their purpose, but definitely the bag is really nice with the Kingdom, with the REI Kingdom. So anyways, stay tuned, subscribe, like us, follow us. We're gonna have a lot more to come.